life. But because the enemies wanted to destroy him using that good feeling that God has created in his life. So it is a lesson to me and to you that morality has no genders, has no environment, and by the way, sexual immorality, uh, it is independent of any environment or age. So we have to learn some of the key things that can help us to overcome it. Why? Because it can destroy destiny. And most of our destiny are tied to how we make choices. And whenever we fail in that area, so we really see that sexual immorality will not leave us untempered with. So how can we live a life that can make us not to be tempered with sexual immorality? There are many Bible verses that I want us to turn into. I will not read it, but you will have to use it to see. When you see from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 3 to 5, or to 6, 7, there you can read. You really see how Paul was really warning the Christian in Thessalonica that they should really be very careful. Why? Because after they've given their life to Christ, renovation project of the Lord has started, and that call for their purification. So for me to be purified, it means that I should be willing. I should allow the Lord to work in my area of life, but also I should be willing to know what do I need to do. Why? Because lack of knowledge is not an excuse. So we have to get to know how can we live a life in the midst of having a bad sexual feeling but not committing sin. There are steps that I want to share with you, and the first step, number one, is acknowledge and admit that you have uh, a high heart of committing sin. Why? Because whenever someone fails to acknowledge, to admit that they are vulnerable to sinning, there's no way they can escape the trap of the enemies. Why? Because when someone doesn't understand the magnitude of what they are going to, there's no way they can escape. And that's what make us to really, we should learn to know that it is not something simple. So that is the first and the key important thing that we can really not take it for granted. That if we want to overcome sexual immorality, we should admit and acknowledge that we are struggling. And we are struggling. Why? Because sometimes you may think that you are not committing sexual thing. Like what I've learned today, that I may not be doing the practical sexual thing, but I may be masturbating. I may be watching pornography. And that's the area that God wants our mind to be pure. That what do I watch with my eyes? What do I hear with my ears? Because those are the instruments that immoralities enter in. So, putting attention on this one, I'm trying to be reminded why Jesus would say that if your eyes want you not to go to heaven, pluck it off, cut your ears. But I'm seeing Jesus wanted us to see the magnitude of how we have to deal in all ways. Because when we fail to acknowledge that we are struggling in sexual sin, in pornography, watching pornographies, all other sins, sexual sin needs some people to be around. But pornography, you don't need anyone. You only need your phone, you need your internet, and these are something that me and you and all of us, we should be attentive so that God